Heel. Good boy. How's everybody doing? My name's Mike, and we got Mr. Arlo with us today. So he's hanging out at heel, doing a really good job. Good job, boy. And as you can tell, it's a little chilly out in Florida. The rain's coming in, and it is quite cold. But he's got the perfect coat for it. Look at that. He's got the perfect coat. So he's doing a really good job. And when I stop, we want the dog to stop with me. Heel. Good job, buddy. When I stop like this, we want him to stop at heel. We don't want him to go any other way, though. I don't want him like ducking behind me like he kind of just did. Heel. Like, and I'm kind of nitpicking with them. This is how we clean it up at the end. This is how we try to get the dogs to walk as good as we can get them to walk. Like I said, he's got 7 years on him, so he's had a little bit of a lifetime of you know, pulling on the leash. And the reason we don't want dogs to pull on the leash is because if they're outside, they're physically now the first one in your pack. So if they're the first one walking down the road and there's another dog, they will physically be the first one to meet that other dog, which means that's anything coming straight on towards a dog is could be considered a challenge or a threat. So if your dog's in front and they encounter a person or a dog, they could bite them because they're not at heel. So that's why we have to really break it down for dogs, teach them to walk just like this. Good job, buddy. Heel. And this is with, you know, there's not too many distractions outside right now, and you have to be able to get your dog to do it with no distractions, and then you can kind of add distractions. So if we were walking and all of a sudden the dog tries to get in front of me, like if I go to stop walking and he doesn't stop like that, I just give him a little tug. Heel. He's now been conditioned to know he's not supposed to walk. Good boy. He's not supposed to walk right in front of me. Sit. Good boy. Good sit. Good job, buddy. He's doing a good job. He's taking a lot of work, but he's doing a good job. He's a tough dog because he's got so much age on him. Heel. But so that's the reason we don't actually want them walking in front of us, is so we can avoid having them feel as if they are the leader, because quite literally, if they're walking in front of you on the leash, pulling on the leash, pulling you in the direction they want to go, then they are absolutely leading the pack. So we got to teach them to heel, and then we got to keep them at heel. And the way we keep a dog behind at our heel, behind us, is we use the correction. So you see, as I'm walking with him, if he goes to sniff the ground or anything, I give him just a little tug with my hand there. So if I'm walking here and I stop, good boy. If you didn't, I would just give a slight tug, you see, just like that. But this leash is always loose, so we keep this leash nice and loose for the dog when we're walking. These collars are never engaged unless the dog does something we don't want him to do. Then we can tug on the collar. But any other time when the dog's out here, this collar and leash is always nice and loose. And that is one of the harder jobs for the person who's on the other end of the leash with the dog, is figuring out on how to hold this leash just at the right amount of slack. So if you let the leash all the way out and you have 6 feet of leash hanging out, the dog's gonna get into all kinds of trouble and pull you and do all kinds of things. So when we're walking heel, we want to make sure we have just that right amount of slack so that it's loose but short at the same time. So the leash is short but it's loose. And if we need to correct the dog, we have the ability. If the dog starts to put any kind of tension on this leash, just like that right there, you guys just actually got to witness it. He just went to us. So even then he's kind of rushing, so I give him a little correction just like that. So you saw right then he went to sniff the pothole or whatever, and I gave him a correction because he can't just sniff the ground. He's actually never been over here on this street, on this street with the dirt right here. I've never brought him over here since I was gonna be talking. I wanted to avoid the pavement. So you saw that again. He's looking at a truck that's going the opposite way. So we correct them for any of those behaviors. They must look in the same direction of us. And we can't have the dog walk in front of us, because again, the dog will be taking the leadership position, and really all the leadership position is making decisions. So if the dogs are doing things in your home that that you kind of don't want, then that means they're making decisions most likely. So we put all these rules on them and give them all this structure and boundaries, and you must be the one to set the boundaries. We don't want to be in a home where we have the dog setting the boundaries for the humans. That would create a very improper imbalance in the relationship, and is going to make the dog think that he's in charge, when in fact the humans, for you to have success in a relationship, the human has to be in charge and has to have, in my opinion, 100% control of whatever dog that they are with. So yeah, the person at the end of the leash, it's their responsibility to have this leash nice and loose but short. But if this dog were to move from my heel right here, I have the ability to correct him. If I give him just like that right there, just the way he was looking back that way, whichever direction their head looks in. So if he looks this way, his body will follow. And this dog definitely had a very severe pulling problem when he first arrived with me. So that's just symptoms, you know, that's just little things symptoms you're gonna see from now and again, and that's gonna be the job of the owner, is to correct the dog when they're not looking forward, walking in the direction that you're going. And that's how you create structure outside, is getting the dog to walk in one direction with you, looking forward, not leaving your heel. And now instead they can't be pulling and be the first one, and they can't be looking around hunting, looking for the next person or dog that they're going to bark at or scare away. Now they actually have to focus on where their position is, and are they in the right position, are they too far ahead of you, and you will be letting them know that. And the way we let the dogs know that, again, it's the tool that we use is this leash. I say it over and over again, we use the leash to let them know. So right then the dog wasn't stopping when I stopped, so I told the dog to stop, but not through my words. I use the leash. That's how a dog communicates, is through body language, and they physically, that's how they do it, is through physical touch. They communicate with each other. So whenever you're outside or with your dog, they must be walking at heel. If they're in front of you, then that means they're in the leadership position, and they will also be the one making the decision on what's going to happen with the people and the dogs outside that they see or encounter on the walk. So we always want the dog right at our heel, and we want to have rules and boundaries for them, so that they don't set rules and boundaries for us, because it only goes one way or the other. You're either going to have a dog that is the leader, or a dog that's a follower. Good boy, good sit, good job, buddy, good boy. I said that because after a couple minutes of me standing here, he finally went ahead and sat down. So now that he's looking that way, I'll stop petting him, because he's looking for something to mess with. But he made a decision to sit, which is a good one. So we reward him for the things we want, and we discourage the things that we don't want.